spoken about this already, but could that mean that the UFC are you ever open to co-promoting in a way of McGregor Sports Entertainment? Because that's something we've never really seen in this sport at the highest level. Is that something that the promotion would be open to?
Yeah, well, listen, we're not looking for any co-promoters in the UFC, but we've always got a done deal with Conor. You know what I mean? When you look at Conor McGregor and his value that he brings, he's incredible. The guy's a global superstar. You know, you could say whatever you want about, his talking and everything. He always backs it up. He will literally fight anybody, anywhere, anytime. So if anybody deserves the money, it's Conor. You know, we've always dealt well together from day one up to today, and we'll get a deal done.
Here with UFC President Dana White ahead of UFC 217 inside Madison Square Garden, and emotions are always running high when it gets to Friday at a weigh-in. It seems particularly high with these top three fights.
Madness. You know, the storyline between the co-main event, combatants, if you will, is second to none. I mean, these guys were former teammates. They hate each other. Both super talented guys, and my pick to be fight of the night.
And then that main event, obviously, George coming back for the first time for 4 years. What kind of sense have you gotten from George after that long, long layoff?
Yeah, I mean, he seems into it. He's in great shape. He's been off for 4 years, and Bisping's an absolute lunatic this week. I mean, the guy is so hard to control right now. I expect that to be a very good fight, too. And then you want to know, Jacek can't keep her hands off of Rose. It's been a crazy week.
What do you mean it's been hard to control Michael Bisping? What's he doing?
He's an absolute lunatic this week. He's been a terror at the hotel. Every time we do the face-offs, he wants to put his hands on St. Pierre. It's just today he's telling me to get out of his way, and he's not going to touch him. I said, you just touched him 3 times. Yeah, you're going to. He's been crazy, man. So I expect these fights to be awesome.
Yeah, is that a good thing or a bad thing that Michael Bisping's so emotional heading into this one?
Who knows? I don't know. We'll see tomorrow. St. Pierre has been. You know what? St. Pierre said I made this mistake once. I got this emotional over a fight. So let Bisping get as emotional as he wants, and he's calm, cool, collected. We'll see if it has an effect on the fight tomorrow.
And Joanna, the strawweight champ, you mentioned her. She's about to tie Ronda Rousey's record if she defeats Namajunas on Saturday. Can you put her into context? What does that mean? What is the significance of that?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Ronda is the best to ever do it. The woman who built women's mixed martial arts to what it is today, and if she can tire and then break the record, I mean, it's hard not to call her the great. Now, that was the date that we were shooting for, provided we could get the deals done. And we're not even that far along in the process, so I guess I don't need to worry about the date anymore.
Okay, well, if a date can't be arranged in 2017, do you think there's any chance we see Conor fight in the UFC this year at all?
Yeah, Conor wants to fight. Conor wants to fight Floyd. Conor wants to fight twice this year. So, we'll just have to see how this thing plays out.
Okay, well, a superstar showdown. A lot of people are very excited for that. Now, talking about timelines, last month in Buffalo, you did say we could expect a date for the return of George St. Pierre within about a week. Any update on that front?
Nope. Obviously, I was expecting him to fight this summer. That is not the case, so we'll see what happens. I know he recently came out and said he'd like to fight in November. I like George St. Pierre. He's a great guy. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
We'll see. Well, to some other Canadian news, the UFC recently announcing UFC 216 would be held in Edmonton. What made you choose Edmonton for this year's lone Canadian pay-per-view?
Well, listen, you know how I feel about Canada. I've said it a million times. Love it up there. Some of the greatest events we've ever held have been in Canada, and it's time for Edmonton.
Time for Edmonton. Love it. Now, looking ahead to this weekend, you have heavyweights in the main events.
12 rounds with this man, but I'm also prepared to knock him out in 10 seconds, and it would not surprise me if that happens. So it wouldn't be the first time.
It wouldn't surprise you if you would knock him out in 10 seconds? 10 seconds into the fight.
It would be my third fastest KO in my career.
And you think that's a realistic possibility?
I believe so. Size, reach, power, precision, all in my favor. I hit you, you fall.
A broken man. What was your message to him on the stage there after the weigh-in? He can't keep up with me and my pace. No way. I'm gonna run through him.
Everything
That's it. I hold no regrets. You know, if I'd done it again, what I would do differently is I'd have pressure fighters coming at me. Okay. In the camp, we had fighters in the Philly shell, similar to the style that he always fights, or fighters against the ropes. But never fighters, well, we did have fighters coming forward, like with that style, the way he eventually went. But that was only in the early rounds. Early rounds, I'm eating guys alive there. It's when I get tired, that's when I need to bring in that fresh body who's going to sit on my chest and let shots fly. And if I'd done that alone would have made that the easiest fight of my life. Because make no mistake, Carl, up until like round 5, that was the easiest fight in my life. I could see everything he was throwing. I was cracking him easily. It was only when I started fading and he started leaning on me and started coming forward in that Mexican style that I started to fade. And that's it, so. That's what I would do differently. I'd have people come pressure me when I'm tired instead of early. So.
Well, you're always pushing the boundaries with the training and the techniques that you're using. You're at the UFC High Performance Center. You know, we saw you sort of running underwater on treadmills, doing all this crazy stuff. Is there anything from this training camp that you can take into your UFC training camps now, sort of new skills that you learn?
I built an incredible engine. Make no mistake about that. Although 30 minutes is, I went 25 minutes, I got into the best shape of my life. So I'm just going to keep going with it, And then also know that, like in this camp, it was like round 1 to 8 was the fight. And then 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 was my friends, more people I'm comfortable with, just to get to the 12th round. Because I had to get to the 12th round in sparring comfortably and safely. And if I'd done it too early, I could have picked up an injury, lost out on the fight, lost out on the whole event, and hampered everything. So that was the goal. This time, I'd probably switch it around. I'd have round 1 to 8 heavy, real competitive, and then I just have a heavier opponent on me, putting the pressure for the last 4 rounds, and I just have to survive in there. And I honestly, truly feel if I'd have done that, I would have been laughing in that fight. But look, you live and learn. That's what we say. You don't lose. You either win or you learn.
Yeah, and that saying has taken you well through your career so far. We have some water, please. Look.
Nah, vodka and orange. Look that. I'm squeezed into this suit. I got this suit fitted about a couple of months ago, and I'm squeezing into it now.
Is this one of the McGregor Augusto?
Yeah, this is an August McGregor line. It looks like the tartan for the Scots. You know what I mean? I was thinking about that. That's why I rocked this one.
Look, you may have bought a suit. Mayweather's put an 8-foot glass picture of you in his new 19 million home in Beverly Hills. Are you going to reciprocate?
I don't know. It's some house. It's some house. What I noticed from it, fair play to him, it's some purchase, a $26 million Beverly Hills mansion. But I'm thinking, that house purchase, the tax bill off this fight, the tax bill off the previous bill, and then his good investments, I could be getting a phone call anytime soon to go again, and I'd fucking love that.
That's not out of the question. There looked like there was a lot of respect between the two of you after the fight, and even in the build-up, you're enjoying yourself. I mean, if you look back at it now, what was the most memorable or enjoyable part of the whole experience, from the deal getting done, to the crazy press tour, to the fight week itself, and the aftermath?
Cashing the check.
Can you tell us what you did clear in the end? There was reportedly 100 million.
Yeah, well, it's around that. We're still in the counting game. Some people are saying it's this, other people are saying it's that. You know, you get your show money, then you gather all the other information, the gate, the pay-per-view, the sponsorship revenue, the merchandise sales. It's my first time as a promoter of an event. So it's my first time kind of diving into all of these things. So I'm building a nice little team of auditors to go in and make sure that all these numbers that people are telling me are correct. So right now we're in the count.
Chasing him around, and he would eventually, catch him with some shots. He hit him with a lot of shots. He looked fantastic tonight, and I couldn't be more proud of him.
Do you think he's proud of his performance? I know that you were in there speaking with him.
He's not. He's very upset with himself. He feels like that fight was there for the taking, and he thinks that the fight was stopped early. I was good with the stoppage. He's not a professional boxer. He stepped in there. What I announced the other night at the Celtics game is where we're at right now. Nothing has changed.
So nothing done with Mayweather,
No, nothing's changed. Next week.
Did he sign the executable agreement?
Who?
Conor?
Yeah.
How much money?
He's going to make a couple bucks. He's going to do all right. Listen, if this fight goes off, if it even happens, and if the thing does what everybody thinks it can do, Conor's going to make a lot of money.
Do you think the time will be just to the amount of money that's in this contract with Mayweather? Is it all about that dollar amount?
What do you mean?
In your opinion, does it all hinge upon the dollar amount on that contract that Mayweather is playing?
No, on Mayweather's side, it's going to be whether we can come to